Mark here with Tamed Fire, and this is how to make a practice contact staff tutorial. Morty. Hi, Morty. I replace the ends of my staff whenever the rubber chair tips start degrading and falling apart like seen here. I like to replace the grip whenever it loses its tack. This one's had its fair share of rolling around on my body and needs to be replaced. The first item you'll need is duct tape, different colors for instructional purposes. A razor blade helps with getting the old heads off. For the grip tape I use Lizard Skin's baseball bat grip. It's 1.8 millimeter thickness. I'll go more in depth on grips later on. I protect the ends of the aluminum tubing with these rubber chair tips. For low light play I like to use holographic tape. I've found it to be far superior to reflective tape. To weight the ends of the staff, I use bicycle inner tubing. Just go to any old bike shop and ask them for their flat tires. Now to get to that sweet piece of aluminum underneath. The aluminum tubing that I use is 7075 T6, otherwise known as aircraft grade aluminum. It's become an industry standard if aluminum is used. Lower strength aluminum, such as the ever so popular but absolutely despised by fire nerds such as myself, is the 6061 T6 aluminum. I have personally bent 2 of my own and met at least 4 others with a similar experience of their staff bending. Attention prop suppliers, please stop making sticks that bend. Once your contact staff is bent, it is done for because it no longer rolls properly, it wobbles. The length of staff for contact play that I recommend is anywhere from the chin to nose height. This way, if you are doing any vertical movements, it will allow for room to bend the knees without the staff hitting the ground. Other tubing that meets my fire standards and can be used is titanium and carbon fiber. Titanium is heavier than the 7075 T6 aluminum, but most grades are stronger. Carbon fiber is overkill along with titanium, but simply can't be beat for its low weight properties. The lighter the staff, the longer you can practice your flow, and because of this has become the top shelf pick if you do become serious about your fire. So now we want to find the middle of the aluminum piece of tubing. So you measure the entire length of the staff. This one's 60 inches. And then, so from 30 inches on one side and 30 inches on the other will give you the middle. Now if it's a little bit off, you'll get these 2 lines, and the center of those 2 lines will be the middle. Next you want to cut 3 pieces of holographic tape. 2 small thin ones and 1 thicker one. The thicker one goes in the middle and the 2 smaller ones on the outsides of the grip tape. Take the thick piece of holographic tape and wrap it around the center that you marked when you measured it. Check for the balance and yup, looks balanced. Next step is attaching the grip tape. When you get it out of the package, you'll notice there's a short and a long diagonal piece. You're going to start the wrap with the long diagonal piece. The straight side should be on your left and the diagonal side on the right. Remove some of the adhesive backing, but not all of it, just enough to start. Start by overlapping about 1 millimeter onto the center piece of holographic tape. With your left hand you want to grip it firmly. I found it works best sitting in a chair. And go ahead and start wrapping, pulling snug with your right hand to start the wrap. I'm trying to show you here the angle or how much you overlap the starting point. It's about 1/2 millimeter that you'll overlap the starting point with the wrap. And then you'll want to gradually angle it to the right until you're just overlapping the grip tape on that outer edge right here. Continue this, making sure that it's snug until you run out of grip tape. If one piece isn't enough, you can use two, or you can find a supplier that sells a large roll of it. I'd like to take a moment to talk about the 3 different types of grip tape that I recommend. The first is EPDM. It has a rubberish foam feel to it. Probably the most comfortable out of the grips, but the least durable. The next grip is silicone tubing. This has about the same grip properties as the bat grip, but is the most durable of the 3. It has a harder feel to it, which is why I prefer bat grip over it. And of course the last grip that I recommend is the bat grip. Once you get to the end here, you're going to want to change your angle back to a little bit more straight than that diagonal. They give you this little piece of grip to seal the end off so it doesn't unwind. Take off the adhesive backing and you want to wrap it about in the middle of this piece on the end point where you left off wrapping. Same thing as the rest of the grip, you just want to make sure it's nice and snug. Now you're ready for the first piece of the smaller holographic tape. Just take off the adhesive backing and you want to wrap it at the end of the grip tape. And there you have it. One side's finished, so you go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Still balanced? Yippers! Next step is to attach the rubber chair tips on the ends. You're going to need 2 of them. This is probably the most difficult part of making the staff. You just slide it on the end. Make sure you get the right size chair tips for the size tube that you use for your practice staff. This is 7/8 that I'm using here. I've got a little something here called Mr. Zog's Sex Wax. Now, normally you'd use this on a surfboard, but in this case we're going to be using it on a staff. So in the summertime, when you're out playing with a staff, you can get kind of sweaty. And when you get sweaty, if you don't have a shirt on, you put this staff on you, it just goes sliding off with the baseball bat grip and the silicone tubing. So to prevent that, I haven't used it on silicone tubing, but I have used it on the bat grip. You just take some of it. This is the wax, comes in little patties, and you just rub it on there. You could be liberal with it, just rub it all along the grip. And when you're sweaty, you'll notice that it provides about enough grip for a routine. So about 5 minutes you can practice with it being all sweaty, and then you gotta put some more wax on it. I don't surf, but isn't that what those guys do?
they always gotta like wax their boards before they go out, and you know.
Now, technically, your contact staff is pretty much finished right now. You just need to weight the ends. The reason I weight the ends is I want to have a similar feel to what the fire staff feels like. When there's wicks on the end, and you soak those in fuel, it gains additional weight. And throughout your burn, if your wicks are large enough and they hold enough weight of fuel, the staff will actually go from heavy to a lighter staff throughout the burn. I measure how much I need by the length of the grip. That gives me a consistent length of duct tape. Stick one of these pieces on just the ends of a piece of inner tubing. Secure the piece to the end of the staff by overlapping the rubber chair tip slightly. This will help keep it on there. Do the same thing for the other side in whatever color you choose. The wicks that I use on my fire staff are 4 inches in length, and it looks like I attach about 8 inches of this rubber on there. The length isn't as important as the weight being similar to the weight of what your fire staff will be. This ensures that the practice that you put in with your practice contact staff will feel similar to what your fire staff will feel like. Go ahead and repeat this process of adding pieces of inner tubing and duct tape onto the ends until you get the weight that you personally feel you want to play with. Check for balance. Is it balanced? No, it is not balanced. You can see that the black side is heavier than the red side. So we're going to take some red duct tape and just guesstimate how much weight you need to add. So you add length of the handle piece, and if that's not enough, add another length of the handle piece. If it was too much, add a little bit of black tape on the other side. You just play around with the duct tape until you get the weight right and balanced. When you get to the end here, you want to make sure there's duct tape that goes past the rubber inner tubing onto the aluminum tube itself. When your staff hits the ground, sometimes the tubing will want to slide towards the middle of the staff. And by placing some duct tape on the aluminum tubing, it helps the rubber inner tubing not slide down. Something that's popular in the spin community that I've seen is attaching yoga mats as weight on the ends. This yoga mat material is a little bit more forgiving when it hits you in the face or any part in the body. I'm not a fan of pain, but I think a staff should hurt you when it hits you where you're not wanting it to go. How likely are you to make the same mistake again when making that same mistake again will hurt? You can develop ninja reflexes this way. If the staff never hurt when it hits you someplace, then the next time it comes around to hit you there, you wouldn't really move. But with these ninja reflexes, you'll be dodging knives and swords and wrenches left and right without even having to think about it. Now that it's balanced, that concludes our how to make a practice contact staff tutorial. This will be the same staff that you see me using in future lessons. Stay tuned, we got a lot more to come.